Hi, my name is Ria Waller, and you are enrolled in CIT 82 Introduction to Web Development here at Fresno City College. This is 100% online compressed offering of a 3-unit class. So compressed means it's the first 9 weeks of the semester. And so really what I would want you to think about there is that when we run classes that are normally taught in 18 weeks, in 9 weeks, staying on track becomes even more important. Okay, and this is true of this class as well. So I'm glad you're here. This is generally one of the first classes. You may have had some others depending on when you've gotten into the web development program. Most students here, this is what they're studying, but some students come into this class just because they realize the importance of having some understanding of how to do web development for the web. And so whichever path you're on that led you here, I'm glad you're here, and I look forward to getting to know you as we move through this course. So I thought I would start today by talking about, as my phone rings, which is so funny, right? As I thought I'd talk about just like in the world that we live in today, things are changing rapidly. This has always been true, but it feels especially true now. And what we need to be able to do is think about, is it still something, because of so much of the AI revolution going on with these large language models, the ability for them to write a certain level of code, is it still important that you learn web development? And my answer is absolutely. So I thought I would ask the particular large language model I use, which is actually Llama, which is from Meta, and probably the one you may have been introduced to is ChatGPT from OpenAI. And I think now this class is not about those concepts. I'm more just explaining where I'm about to look. So in this case, I'm going to go over to a tab where I have asked the question, why is it important to learn web development? And so reviewing the answer, high demand. It is still a much sought after skill, because if whatever IT job you may end up into, if that's your career path, trust me when I tell you that at some level you will be having something that you have to do related to understanding the way the web works. And so having that platform knowledge and how that works and how we develop for the web is a good skill. If web development is your pathway, then this is, of course, where you would logically start. There are definitely still career opportunities, and I think that's one of the things I hear from students over the last year is this still something, right? Is there still career opportunities out there? And I would say absolutely there are. Now, do you have a different competitive field that you may have before? Sure. This is true with many things that shift as major changes happen. This is kind of what we talked about at the before. Is like it's almost like a basic skill. So if you've heard this term when we talk about students having a basic skill set, for IT folks, this is that basic skill set, is having that experience of how to understand what is involved in web development, how to do some basic web development. Okay, so it's still a creative and creative, innovative area. Definitely helps you work on your problem solving. That's going to be very true. And I hope you see that as we move into this course, because that's part of what, when I see students learn using large language models, chatbots, generative AI. It's okay if you don't know these terms. We're going to be introduced to some of them as we move through. But as you lean into them, again, it's not a bad thing depending on what you're trying to do, but what you really want to do is increase your ability to problem solve. And a class like this is intended to help you with that. Okay, understanding of technology, constantly learning, right, and hence collaboration. Okay, so hopefully, you're here for your reasons, for whatever they are. I just try to help you understand kind of the landscape at which we work today. What I want to say in this welcome video is, like, again, this is a 9-week course. There are 2 due dates a week. And each of those due dates will have multiple items due. So staying up to date, as I said before, really important. This course is set up to enforce sequential flow. And well, all that really means is you have to complete items in sequence, meaning you complete this item that then opens up this item and so forth and so on. So just know that as you move into the course, that's what you're going to see. And I'll show you. As a matter of fact, I'm looking at the course in Student View so I can show you that. Now, every week in the course, we'll have different weekly items that we work on. Some will be a hands-on type, even though it's a discussion. Some will be assignments where you actually submit assignments. Some will just be discussing a topic that we're currently going over, right? So those will think, generally though, it's a lecture of some type. Now those lectures will vary, and I'm actually thinking of using some of these chatbot generative AI tools. We'll see how that plays out, because I've been working on a grant for the last 6 months to actually help create some of this. We'll see if we actually get to the point to be able to use some of that infrastructure we built. But regardless, just give you that idea, 2 due dates a week. Okay, so in this course, like one of the things I recommend is going into Simple Syllabus. And Simple Syllabus is really just a platform that is provided to faculty to create a syllabus. And so I recommend highly that you go in and start reviewing the syllabus for the important topics of where to find me, when to find me, I'm on campus, where to find me, that if you need to meet with me, you can meet with me on Zoom or you can meet with me in my office. I do hold my office hours both on campus and in Zoom. There is a tutor for this class. I don't have Zach's schedule as of yet, but if you click here, you will see that. If you want to connect with me, the best way to do it is through the inbox. And then I do offer some other, there's no textbook. Oh yeah, that's the good news. There is no textbook for this class. Okay, I talk about the non-graded and the graded items, important. Also, attendance is something I use to report to the campus. I talk about dropping. I talk about for this course, I think there's only one, and the way the grade is laid out. So let's just spend a moment here. So I kind of mentioned this before, but you'll have particular things that I'll have you take notes on. So lectures are your watching something or doing something and taking notes. Your project is actually what will happen at the end of the semester. Then at the end of the semester, you will have learned some basic HTML, basic CSS. You'll learn Bootstrap, which is a framework for creating websites. Okay, and then you will choose a template, a Bootstrap template, and then you will customize that template to create a website. And I believe it's 15 pages. Now, don't get overwhelmed, because by that point in the semester, we'll have about 3 weeks where part of your work for this class is actually working on that project. But you can see our hands-on is worth 25% and current topics as well. Okay, and that's the final date as far as when things are due. But again, we'll talk about that as we move through the semester. So, I've had many students come through this course. Most students give me really positive feedback. I hope this is your experience of this course, is that you actually get in and learn some skill sets and introduce the concepts that maybe you have had some experience with or maybe none at all. And so I hope that this course is of value to you. That's really the way I try to create my courses in a technical realm, is to give you actually a skill set that you can start to develop, extend to develop, depending on which class you're taking. Okay, so let's just first let's end by talking about what you need, because this is actually your first assignment in this class. And so what you need to do here is provide me a GitHub username. And GitHub is an important part, fundamental skill for anybody going into IT, but specifically for web students, because GitHub, and let me just say this, so I have it up here. So GitHub is a website where we place code. Now, code in this context could mean varying things, but for us, it will be websites, HTML, CSS, like I said, Bootstrap. But specifically, what you need to do is go through, if you don't already have an account, and sign up for an account. Do know that if you're offered some kind of paid level account, don't take that. This is a free, completely free site. And in this case, you also have to do two-factor authentication, which means you'll have to set up probably some kind of SMS or something else if you use the whatever system for two-factor, meaning a password and another form of authentication. This is fairly common on campus. We see this now as well. If you happen to already have a GitHub account, you can go ahead and give me that one as well. So as an example, once you sign up, like for me, when I go to GitHub, my username, now my username is not my email. It's what gets created when I go through the process of signing up. Okay, so once you have that username, then you will come back here and you will start the assignment. Okay, and you will give me your GitHub username. And then what I will do is I will invite you into a part of GitHub that is for our course specific. And you need to use that course specific GitHub, we call it organization, in order to create the required repos. And this, if this is a new term, don't worry about it. It's basically a glorified folder for you to have, and you'll create repos that are private, meaning only between you and I, and then public between you and the rest of the class. Okay, so that first part is submitting that username, and you can't get started with the actual week 1 work until you give me that. And so it's very important that as soon as you can, you do this step so that you can get invited into the GitHub. Well, first get your account set up, get invited into the GitHub GitHub course organization so you can get started with the course. Okay, so do that there, hit submit. And then the next video was talking about Discord, so check that out as well. It's not a required part of this course. It is recommended for you if you, I'll talk about how we use Discord in this class. And then once you submit that, you will be invited into the organization. You'll need to accept that. I think it expires in 7 days, so make sure the sooner you do this step, the better. Anyway, I'm glad you're here. I look forward to you going through this course content and getting to know you. Have a great one.